Hello and welcome to World Now on TVC News. With me, Abosadi Adeniwa. The United States has announced after talks with both sides in Saudi Arabia that Russia and Ukraine have agreed to halt military strikes on vessels in the Black Sea and pause attacks on energy infrastructure. The agreement could represent the most significant step yet towards a broader ceasefire in the more than 3-year Russia-Ukraine war. But it was not immediately clear when the partial truce would take effect or how it would be implemented. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said the entire agreement was effective immediately, but Moscow said the Black Sea truce would only take effect once certain sanctions were lifted, including those targeting its state-owned agricultural bank. Joining me to discuss hopes for the Russia-Ukraine ceasefire deal is global affairs analyst Gbenga Onifade, who joins me via Zoom from London. Good to have you join us, Mr. Onifade. Russia says the Black Sea ceasefire would not take effect until sanctions were lifted from Russian banks, producers and exporters who were involved in the international food and fertilizer trades. What do you make of this?
Well, I mean, that tells you that Russia is still very much in control. I think there was a misjudgment initially that, the ammunitions that Russia had, when it was the start of the war, considering even, Putin said this war would be a quick one. I think he was predicting 2 weeks, special military exercise. And people thought, they had a military ammunitions for just about 3 weeks. Many experts thought that, but I think this just shows you the willingness of Russia to proceed and extend or prolong this for as long as they will like, really. So obviously we can tell again that Russia is in control of things. And very importantly, if there's no money, there can be war really to finance. I think before President Trump, came for the second presidency, one of the things he mentioned was he will try to block all means of finance. And I think Russia they can foresee that, really. They know for them to be able to perform any particular major or prolong this thing to get the access, to get their way, they need money, they need access. And if the SWIFT system, which is the SWIFT method really of money transfer, if it's blocked, then unfortunately they cannot proceed, they cannot trade, they cannot export, they cannot collect money. So that's very important. I think Russia wants that lifted first, but without that, they are also telling you that they are very much in control and they are happy to see into the end. And I think even as of yesterday, the Kremlin still said, they are happy or willing, they're looking forward to taking more Ukrainian territory. So yes, I think Russia is still very much in control, still much in power, and willing to go the long haul.
I hear you, Mr. Onifade. And so with the many benefits that Russia seeks to gain from this deal, one is curious to ask, what exactly is in this deal for Ukraine?
Well, I mean, number one, the end to bloodshed, which is very important to both parties. I think both countries have had, extreme severe casualties. That's just number one. Number two, for Ukraine, Ukraine, we should probably say they're more in control of the Black Sea, which Russia is looking to take right now. So, and as you can see, the change of tone with Ukraine, they actually decided to change and said that, they embrace the plan, of even though it's partial for both of them. That's number two. Number three, and again, you got to see that Russia is actually looking to take into the Black Sea as well. They want a portion. The Black Sea is very important. It's a gate to the world. It's crucial for Ukraine, which is the largest grain exporters to the world, especially to Africa. And with Russia blocking that, or with Ukraine not accepting the deal, then of course they cannot export their grains. It's one of the main causal effects of food inflation, which different countries in Africa are experiencing, and then the world over as well. So yes, it's like one of the bread baskets of the world. Ukraine is. They need that closure, partial ceasefire, and access to the Black Sea, and of course to be able to trade with the world, and again bolster the countries all over again their GDP.
So if this, the request being made by Russia is granted, President Zelensky sees it as a weakening of positions, and he's considering pushing for further sanctions on Russia and for more military support from the U.S., especially if Moscow reneged on its commitments. But considering what you can call the frosty relations between President Trump and Zelensky, is there any hope that the U.S. could at any time take actions against Russia?
Well, I mean, I don't see the United States taking action against Russia at any point, anytime soon, really. The positivity of the talks, it's good for United States, it's good for Russia, it's good for Ukraine. That's number one, because when it comes to war, everybody loses. But I think also, if we mention what you mentioned, what you talked about, dealing with the first relationship, coming or stemming from the deal at the White House with, Zelensky and Trump, kind of got off the back foot, which some people kind of, shift onto miscommunication in language as number one. But I think since that time, things have improved. And also, even Zelensky did mention that I think the crucial thing to understand is people don't trust Russia enough because, times of that number, they have been breaking the ceasefire. So one crucial thing is that, okay, should Russia break it again now? I think US would have a good way to say, they'll have a good opportunity to have boots on ground and say they will support them. Not necessarily striking Russia, but I think they would try to enforce these. But there's something in it for United States as well. The key mineral deal which United States want. They want access to the minerals which Ukraine has got in abundance. Of course, that will take a long while now, probably take years to be ratified. But again, so this peace deal, it's necessary, it needs to be enforced. So I'm sure, we haven't actually seen the full details, but I'm sure United States will be one of the contributors to enforce this, to make sure it stands, and at the same time, so that there will be a progress on the mineral deal, energy deal, which they are looking at talking about.
The goal is for a broader ceasefire, and this is supposed to be an integral part leading to that. How sustainable do you think this Black Sea deal would be, and could it actually spiral into the much-needed peace in this region?
I should be very optimistic, but at the moment I am quite pessimistic, really, because what you've got to understand is this has been led by the United States. And if you're going to lift sanctions on Russia, the SWIFT payments, especially, with the key biggest bank in Russia, which is the agricultural bank, you do have to get the Europeans involved. And Europeans are not involved at the moment. And with Europeans not involved, that might just put things at fray. And again, we could also see United States is looking one way, European countries, they're looking the other way around. But with the economic clout of the United States, I think that might be a good way to go, because they know if you got access to the American market, the European countries will comply. Even though you got 28 nation countries in the NATO, United States is only one of them. But if America is able to comply and Russia is able to comply, I think things will become sustainable. One crucial point also is the fact that we know President Trump, he likes to deal with the real leaders. I think he kind of sees Putin as a real leader. They've kind of got a boarding relationship, which we all know anyway. So I think as a mark of respect, they might try to respect each other, even though it might take a bit longer for them to agree on the deal. Once the fine details are finalized, I think Europe will get on the line and everything can be a good positive note for everybody.
Well, we'll look forward to when that happens, because peace definitely is an important ingredient for world growth. Benga Onifade is Global Affairs Analyst. Thank you very much for your time on World Now.
Thank you.
You're watching World Now. We will take a break. When we come back, we have more lined up for you, including updates from Africa. Please stay with us.